The Great Population Shift. Which countries are growing and which are declining? By 2050, some countries will double in population while others shrink to historic lows. Why is this happening? Global demographics are shifting faster than ever, reshaping economies, politics, and societies. But what's behind these drastic changes? Birth rates are plunging in some nations while others experience explosive growth. The impact of this shift will determine the future of global power, immigration, and even the workforce. What does the future of the world's population look like? As we approach 2050, the world's demographic balance is changing at an unprecedented rate. Some nations are seeing their populations expand rapidly, while others are facing a sharp decline. These shifts will have profound effects on economies, social structures, and geopolitical stability. Population trends are driven by a variety of factors, including birth rates, life expectancy, economic conditions, and migration patterns. Countries with high fertility rates are seeing booming populations, while those with declining birth rates are facing shrinking workforces and aging societies. Governments worldwide are scrambling to address these changes, with some offering incentives for larger families, while others implement immigration-friendly policies to sustain their economies. One of the biggest challenges is the imbalance between growth and decline. Countries with growing populations often struggle with infrastructure, housing, and job creation, while those with declining populations face economic stagnation, labor shortages, and increased strain on healthcare systems. These demographic extremes could lead to new global power shifts as emerging economies take center stage, while older economic giants slow down. But what does this mean for everyday life? Where you live could determine your job prospects, economic stability, and even retirement options. Understanding these demographic trends can help us prepare for the future, both on a global scale and in our personal lives. We'll break down which countries are growing, which are shrinking, and why these changes are happening so rapidly. Why are some countries experiencing massive population booms? Many developing nations, especially in Africa and South Asia, are seeing skyrocketing birth rates. Countries like Nigeria, Ethiopia, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo are projected to experience some of the fastest population growth in the world over the next few decades. Several factors contribute to this rapid increase, including high fertility rates, improving healthcare, and declining infant mortality. In many of these nations, large families are still the norm, driven by cultural, economic, and religious factors. At the same time, access to better medical care and vaccines has significantly reduced childhood mortality, allowing more children to survive into adulthood. Economic conditions also play a role. Many of the fastest-growing populations exist in countries with developing economies, where labor-intensive industries and agricultural work benefit from having a large youthful workforce. As a result, urbanization is accelerating, with millions migrating to cities in search of jobs, education, and better living conditions. However, rapid population growth also presents major challenges. Overcrowding, resource shortages, and strained public services are common in many of these nations. Governments must find ways to invest in infrastructure, education, and job creation to ensure that population growth translates into economic prosperity rather than instability. Why are some countries facing population collapse? While some nations are booming, others, especially in Europe and East Asia, are shrinking at alarming rates. Countries like Japan, Italy, South Korea, and Germany are experiencing declining birth rates and aging populations, leading to shrinking workforces and economic slowdowns. Fertility rates in these countries have dropped below the replacement level of 2.1 children per woman. Factors such as high living costs, career-focused lifestyles, and a shift away from traditional family structures have contributed to this decline. In places like Japan and South Korea, younger generations are delaying or avoiding marriage and parenthood altogether due to financial instability and societal pressures. The consequences of population decline are significant. Fewer young people mean a shrinking labor force, which can slow down economic growth and strain social welfare systems. With fewer workers paying into pension and healthcare funds, governments are struggling to support aging populations, leading to increased taxes and policy shifts. In response, some governments are implementing bold strategies to encourage population growth. Policies include paid parental leave, child subsidies, and even incentives for couples to have more children. However, Reversing demographic decline is a long-term challenge and no country has yet found a perfect solution. How is migration reshaping global populations? While birth and death rates are crucial, migration is one of the most immediate factors influencing demographic changes. In many countries with declining populations, immigration is helping to fill labor shortages and sustain economic growth. The United States, Canada, and Australia have long relied on immigration to maintain population stability. Meanwhile, European nations like Germany and the UK have opened their borders to skilled workers to counteract declining birth rates. Migration has led to increased cultural diversity and economic innovation in these regions. However, migration can also create political and social tensions. In countries experiencing large waves of immigration, debates over integration, job competition, and national identity have become highly charged. Policies surrounding immigration continue to shape economies and elections worldwide. At the same time, climate change is expected to drive even more migration in the future. Rising sea levels, desertification, and extreme weather events could force millions of people to relocate, leading to major geopolitical shifts. Will population changes determine the next global superpowers? The fastest-growing countries today will have the largest workforces in the future, which could shift global economic dominance away from traditional powerhouses. China, currently the most populous country, is expected to see its population decline significantly by 2100. Meanwhile, India is projected to overtake China as the world's most populous nation. African economies may emerge as major global players due to their large, young populations. Aging nations like Japan and many European countries will struggle to maintain economic momentum unless they find ways to address labor shortages. Automation and AI could help bridge the gap, but human labor remains essential in many industries. As populations shift, geopolitical alliances may change. Nations with growing populations may demand a larger role in international institutions, like the UN and the IMF, reshaping global leadership. Why are more people moving to cities than ever before? By 2050, nearly 70% of the world's population is expected to live in urban areas. This shift is driven by economic opportunities, technological advancements, and changing lifestyles. However, it also presents major challenges, from housing shortages to rising pollution. Developing nations, particularly in Africa and Asia, are experiencing some of the fastest urbanization rates. Cities like Lagos, Dhaka, and Jakarta are growing rapidly, fueled by rural migration. These urban centers are becoming economic powerhouses, but they also struggle with overcrowding, slums, and inadequate infrastructure. In contrast, some cities in developed nations are shrinking. Cities in Japan, Italy, and in Eastern Europe are losing residents due to aging populations and economic stagnation. As fewer young people settle in these areas, local economies suffer, leading to abandoned properties and ghost towns. Smart cities and sustainable urban planning are emerging as possible solutions. Some governments are investing in technology-driven urban infrastructure, creating more efficient public transport systems, energy-efficient buildings, and AI-driven traffic management. The goal is to make megacities more livable, while ensuring they can sustain massive population growth. Can technology solve the challenges of a changing population? Innovations in healthcare, automation, and artificial intelligence are already reshaping demographic trends, helping people live longer, and transforming labor markets. Medical advancements are increasing life expectancy, especially in developed countries. Breakthroughs in genetics, robotics, and personalized medicine mean people are living healthier for longer. However, this also means an aging population that requires extended healthcare services and retirement support, placing additional pressure on governments. Automation and AI are changing the job market. With fewer working-age individuals in countries like Japan and Germany, companies are turning to robotics to replace human labor. Self-driving vehicles, AI-powered customer service, and automated factories are becoming common. While this may offset labor shortages, it also raises concerns about job displacement and economic inequality. Tech-driven fertility solutions are also emerging. Countries with low birth rates are investing in assisted reproductive technology, while advances in child-rearing robotics could change parenting norms. Some experts even predict a future where artificial wombs could be used to boost population growth in declining nations. How is climate change affecting where people live? Rising sea levels, extreme weather, and resource scarcity are already forcing millions to migrate, creating climate refugees. As conditions worsen, entire regions may become uninhabitable, leading to massive population shifts. Low-lying island nations like the Maldives and Tuvalu are at risk of disappearing due to rising ocean levels. Coastal cities such as Miami, Jakarta, and Bangkok face increasing flood threats, prompting governments to invest in climate adaptation projects or prepare for large-scale relocations. Extreme heat and droughts are affecting countries in Africa and the Middle East, leading to food and water shortages. This has already sparked migration waves into Europe and North America, a trend that is expected to intensify in the coming decades. Climate-driven population shifts could also lead to geopolitical conflicts. Nations competing for limited resources, such as fresh water and arable land, may experience tensions or even war. Governments will need to adapt quickly, investing in sustainable energy and climate-resilient cities. So, what does this all mean for the future of our changing world? The global population shift is more than just numbers. It's a transformation of economies, cultures, and world power. Growing nations will need to harness their young populations to drive prosperity, while shrinking countries must adapt to aging societies. Migration, urbanization, and climate change will play critical roles in shaping the way people live and work. Technological advancements may help us navigate these challenges, but governments and societies must act proactively. How we respond to these shifts will determine whether we experience a future of opportunity or crisis. What happens next will impact every aspect of life, from the job market to global security. How will you prepare for the future? What do you think about these global population shifts? If you found this video insightful, make sure to like and subscribe for more global trends. Do you think population growth is a good thing? Or are you more concerned about overpopulation and resource scarcity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.